Combo Breaker has come and gone, and I still can't believe it. It really does mean the world to me that I got to host something like this, and while it would have meant even more if I actually won the thing, third place is pretty good. Originally, the first Rancher Rundown after Combo Breaker was going to be on the winner of Combo Breaker, but it was a hair, and we've already done that. And there's also a Naga who made top 4, but we've already done that too. And in third, we had my color Pandora, which I've also already covered. The only monster that made the main stage and wasn't already covered in a rundown was Centaur. Stonewall is a Celius made by community mainstay Goatpaws, and I think it's only fitting that we celebrate the number 2 monster from Combo Breaker with a rundown. No crazy long intro this time, no tongue-in-cheek think piece about a horse's role in society or whatever nonsense I was originally planning for Centaur. That would have been fun. But no, we're just getting into it with no shenanigans. So, Centaur is a good-ass monster. It has a crazy array of techs that rival the best of their archetypes. Its stat gains are weird though, having good intelligence gains despite only having 4 intelligence techs, and the low speed for a horse is kind of bewildering. Maybe speed is supposed to be more like agility, I think that makes sense. The most peculiar thing about Centaur though is a bug that lowers its guts regeneration rate. All of Centaur's mixed breeds calculate their guts as if Centaur is supposed to have a base regen of 13, but for whatever reason the purebred has a 16 guts rate, which is significantly worse. I say for whatever reason, but the reason is a typo. There's a lot of typos in the code for Monster Rancher 2, but unless your goal is to use the purebred, it doesn't really have much effect on gameplay, and especially competitive play, so it's more of a trivia bit than anything else. Doesn't make them bad. Smash is an above curve basic tech. On a 16 guts rate mon, this tech would be just okay, similar to like a worse arrowhead punch, but on a 13 guts rate monster, it's actually really good. You're gonna see that a lot here with Centaur. Rear leg kick is a situational tech. An incredibly long animation and good numerical value for its cost mean it's great at running down the clock and securing a win versus most mons who have procced grit, but mid-game it's a total burden. Even if it hits, your opponent has probably built such a substantial guts lead and taken so little damage, it's unlikely that you're not at a huge disadvantage afterwards. Rear leg is essentially like Plant's slap. Kinda. It's a great game ender, but it's not very good otherwise. Smash Combo is a solid extension of Smash, but oddly enough, it kind of finds itself in a limbo between Smash and another tech we're going to talk about later. Real jack of all trades energy on this one. It's good, but it's just not a common pickup. Turn Stab is an incredibly useful tech. Under player control. It's like bigger rear leg kick. It's good for all the same reasons, and it's bad for all the same reasons, but at least it's quick on a miss. Turn Stab's not a move you want to see an AI monster using almost ever, but when you get to pick your spots for it, it becomes very strong. Triple Stabs is the tech I alluded to just earlier, being better in its niche than Smash Combo. It costs more, but it does more of everything, and when you've already got a small tech in the same slot doing the same job like regular Smash, sometimes a mid-range tech like Smash Combo only ends up muddying the waters. Triple Stabs, despite its heftier cost, is a super accurate closer and powerful at every stage of the game, given its consistency in damage output and accuracy, which, as will become very clear later, is essential to making Centaur functional. This is a necessary pickup for every single Centaur whose goal is to actually win. Rush Slash is a really funny opener. Killer animation and big damage to cost ratio is offset massively by how ineffective it is due to minus 14 hit. Genuinely a very funny tech because it's just so unwieldy. Great way to assert dominance though, I suppose. On a hit it's a huge boon, and on a miss it shows your opponent you simply have nothing to lose and they cannot intimidate you. Stab throw is basically the exact same thing, except with all the dials set to wumbo. This shit is going to kill your opponent and their grandparents. 28 cost for an instant win button on any opponent not at full life is pretty solid. Where Rush Slash just doesn't do enough damage to offset the risk and requires you to still play a lot of the game after the hit, Stab Throw simply ends the game, making it the better gamble. The downside though is that Centaur doesn't need Stab Throw in the same way it doesn't need Smash Combo, because Centaur has Death Stab. Death Stab, simply put, is a move for fuckers. This tech does almost as much damage as Dragon Combo, and it has the actual obscene property of having 1.3 second animation on a miss. Do you know how fast that is? It's faster than Naga's Stab. It's quicker than Suezo's Spit. Genuine Clown Shoes move. Like, look at this. It looks like it's glitching. It's like, oh, I interrupted the attack. It's so fast. What's going on here? On most techs like this, the 33 guts cost is way worse than it looks because your opponent builds a huge lead in the meantime while it's animating. But because of how fast it swings, you lose almost no additional advantage over the cost of the gamble itself. It's not like it's not without risk at all, but that risk is completely outweighed by the unbelievable 62 force. What is this? What it is broken. Here's GoPause being a degenerate gambler, a combo breaker, and cashing out big. Because as it turns out, the gamble isn't actually that big, and Goat's strat of just going all in all the time was a pretty good one. Pure, unadulterated monster rancher. Hook that shit up to my veins. And this is how it works in AI battles as well. It's part of why Centaur is as good as it is. Javelin is not like a terrible tech. It's a pretty standard sharp tech in that it's too expensive without a crit, and it's good value with it. Its biggest downside is that it's in the same slot as Death Thrust, so it's never gonna be used. Jump Javelin is probably the tech in slot 4 you're gonna pick up if you aren't just leaving it empty. 30 sharpness means a 50% chance to crit with the bad-natured stress bonus, which makes this pretty powerful for its cost, but it does mean you have to learn Javelin, which means less Death Thrust. So much of the Centaur economy relies on easy access to Death Thrust. The numbers on Meteor Drive aren't too bad, but it's not a universally good tech. 45% chance on average to nuke your opponent is very good, especially compared to stuff like Death Final, but the low withering does mean that it can end up being an even bigger gamble than it looks like if it doesn't outright kill. It's decently reliable though. Centaur could do much worse given the other techs in this archetype. Cross Slash is like oddly weak in most scenarios. It's got the arrowhead acrobatics problem wherein its cost is just absolutely not worth what it's trying to accomplish most of the time, but it's great in situations where you're just extending a lead or trying to finish off your opponent. Swinging Cross Slash on an open is a great way to lose the game, but swinging Cross Slash to close is a fantastic way to finish it off. Z-Smash is more of the same. 55 cost techs are almost universally not worth it. The numbers aren't awful, but it poses a lot of important questions regarding opportunity cost. The opportunity cost being that it's 1 2/3 the cost of Death Thrust. That's as much as 1/6 of a tens, and that's terrible. Centaur's got a lot of power techs, and he's only got 4 intelligence techs, and they're all pretty awful. A good intelligence gain hides this horrible truth, but withering is just not what Centaur wants to focus on, so I don't know what's going on here any more than you do. Energy Shot, like all other energy shots in the game, is generally unusable. Good withering and a quick animation, but it's still a waste of time and energy to swing it when you could be using even his basics instead. Energy Shots, like all other energy shots in the game, is a weird all-in withering play, which is just fundamentally a very weak choice for almost every single monster. The great withering is offset significantly by the long animation time, and it still does no damage. Give Plant this tech. Why does Centaur have this? Give this to Plant. Plant needs it. Mind Flare is definitely a better choice for the Intelligent Centaur, in the same way that eating out of a dumpster is a better choice than eating out of the open mouth of a wild bear. It's fine as far as offensively based withering attacks go, but it's not enough to carry an entire build. Mind Blast is just that, but blastier. It's actually pretty infuriating getting smoked with Mind Blast, but that's mostly due to the added weight of knowing that you're losing to someone who's not taking this seriously. Centaur has real Color Pandora energy in the sense that it's got a ton of great options and you just kind of don't ever use them if they interfere with the bread and butter combo of Death Thrust and Triple Stabs. He's got a lot of cool mix and match options, but it's a bit hard to express just how oppressive these two techs are in tandem when left alone. Smash is good at rounding up the set and gives a low committal option which is otherwise missing from the core. Stab Throw ends up being a necessary pickup because it's a prerequisite for Death Thrust, but also, it's not. Because if you hate yourself, you can raise a Sniper. You can unlock Sniper at the Shrine by running into them on the Mandy Errantry with a B rank or higher monster after you've unlocked Centaur. Sniper is far and away the most powerful Centaur, and unlike lots of other enemy mons, it starts with Grit, so it's completely viable for competitive play. There's also a Sniper spawn that starts with just Death Thrust in the basics, and this is where the fun starts. You see, Turn Stab is a pretty rough tech in AI battles, but Triple Stabs is ungodly powerful. So most players try to priority skip Turn Stab on Errantry. Triple Stabs requires, at minimum, 450 combined power, skill, and loyalty to unlock, which is pretty easy to hit, even on accident all things considered. But Turn Stab has a 100% chance to be the tech learned on the Torval Sea Errantry if you meet these requirements. It has priority over Triple Stabs. To learn Triple Stabs only and not Turn Stab first, you need to go on Errantry before you meet the requirements for either, and in a best case scenario, you have a 3% chance to either learn it or Turn Stab each week. As soon as you pass 250 combined power, skill, and loyalty, the chance for learning Turn Stab begins to increase, and the chance for triple quickly decreases from a paltry 3% down to 0, where you can no longer get it. And the Death Thrust Sniper starts with over 500 combined power and skill. The Death Thrust Triple Stab Sniper is likely the most difficult top tier build in all of competitive play. But it's worth it. So how do you do it? Well, you need to leap like you never leapt before. You need to tank your power as low as you can, which isn't awful at first glance due to needing speed anyway, but now you need to deal with the extra intelligence you've learned from leaping once you've picked up your tech. Ideally, you'll have 300 skill and 1 power to maximize your chances at grabbing Triple Stabs, but you'll also need to keep your loyalty as low as possible. 50 loyalty in Sniper's starting skill gives you a 1% chance to roll triple stabs, for example, and at 100 you're locked out of getting it at all because you meet the requirements for turn stab. So you probably need to sell any Gemini pots you have saved up to avoid the accidental fear gains, which add to loyalty. So now that you've tanked your power and your ranch infrastructure, it's time to roll for a 1 to 2% chance. Godspeed. And then after you eventually grab triple stabs, you'll need to do swim drills to lower your intelligence, and then use paradoxin to keep your defense in check. This will also completely wreck your previous speed gains, so it was all for nothing, surprise. But not really, because the struggle makes you stronger, and what you're left with is a monster capable of winning any tournament under the sun. It's not easy and it requires a lot of heads-up decision making and the ability to pivot mid-build to fix loyalty and stat issues, but it's as close to Secretariat as your horse is gonna get. Centaur is crazy powerful in AI battles, and I'm not surprised in the least that we saw one in top 4 at Combo Breaker, but Gopal's strategy of going all in every time took me and everyone else by surprise, as pictured here. That's me being surprised.
I hate surprises.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Centaur is probably the least represented, like, ultra top tier in Monster Hunter 2 competitive, and I think it's because he is such a pain in the ass to build optimally. Thanks for tuning in on Twitch. I've been streaming on YouTube as well if you're not aware. So if you don't like Twitch or like you don't want to get involved in that ecosystem, you can just watch me live on YouTube as well. We've been doing a lot of speed runs for Monster Hunter 2, and thanks again to everyone on Patreon as well. It means the world to me that you guys still appreciate what I'm doing. Also, you know, if you're a Patreon, the stupid horse model I made is going to be online for patrons to download and do whatever they want with. It's not rigged or anything. You can put bones in his legs if you want. Give him the horse some bones, please. I'll see you on the next one.